Hi, everyone. This week in Writing 210, we're doing a little bit of time travel. We're going to be looking at the history of style and how that history has changed over time, how people's perception of style has shifted and adapted as culture and other and the world itself has changed. So if you see on this slide, I have this pendulum that really kind of illustrates the back and forth nature of how we think about style and how that's influenced by the world around us and our cultures. So this week, I am asking you to do, or what we'll be talking about is Cicero's levels of style, which you'll read about in our Performing Prose textbook. And we're going to also be applying Cicero's theories to Ross Gay's writing and also our own writing. So we'll do a little bit of reading and writing to kind of extend our thinking about this. So before class on Wednesday, please read Performing Prose Chapter 5, which is called The Rhetorical Tradition. I'd also like you to read Ross Gay's essay, Dispatch from the Ruins, School, the 11th Incitement. This is from Gay's collection of essays called Inciting Joy, and each chapter is sort of, it takes on a subject and how that subject might incite joy in us in our lives. And so I thought this chapter that's about school might be particularly interesting and relevant to you all. I'd also like you to review the commonplace book assignment on Blackboard, which you can find in the assignment folder or also the week 3 folder. We'll talk about this on class on Wednesday, but the first commonplace book assignment is going to be due this week. So what else? What else is due this week? We've got 2 discussion boards for week 3, and then also commonplace book number 1. And like I said, we'll discuss this in class on Wednesday. So our key concept for this week is Cicero's 3 levels of style. So Cicero, if you don't know, was a Roman orator. He was a big member in the Roman Senate, and his writings on rhetoric and writing and speaking have really shaped our understanding of what rhetoric is as part of classical rhetorical traditions. And so he came up with these 3 levels of style. So the first style is the low or plain style, which has the aim or goal of teaching. He used the Latin term docere. Then we have the middle style, which has the primary purpose of entertaining or amusing the audience. And finally, we have the high or the grand style, which is designed to create emotion or move the audience to action. So among these styles, the low style is really focusing on subject matter. The text itself is focused on the subject matter without necessarily drawing attention to style. The middle style uses various stylistic features to engage the audience's imagination to help encourage them to be amused or entertained. And finally, the higher grand style really is designed to engage the audience's senses, their memories or their emotions deeply so that they are moved to take action or to either change beliefs or to do something differently than they have been doing. So if we think about these, an easy way of kind of thinking about this is that the low style aims to teach, the middle style aims to entertain, and the high style aims to create emotion or to move the audience in a specific kind of way. So it has a kind of specific purpose or message. Each style has these different purposes or messages, but it's all related to audience. The audience is a key element of all of these. And so when we're thinking about Cicero's motives of style, we're thinking not just about what the text is doing, we're thinking about the purpose and how that purpose can reach the audience itself. And this goes back to the previous conversations that we've had over the last couple of weeks, where we understand that style can be influenced by a writer's purpose and by the audience, by its rhetorical situation. So if we're thinking, I want to spend a little bit of time kind of diving into each of these different categories. So the low or the plain style is typically kind of unadorned or plain language. So there's not usually metaphors, figures of speech. It doesn't use, if it uses jargon, it is familiar. It's things that the readers will be familiar with. The style is simple. The sentences are kind of comprehensible. They're easy to understand. And the writer uses concrete nouns and verbs, very few adjectives. And if they're using stories, they're using kind of straightforward stories that illustrate or exemplify ideas. So as I'm kind of going through these, think about the kinds of writing that you might categorize into each of these different areas. So what would be some of the writing that you would see that would be a low or plain style? Then we have the middle style, where content and style is sort of equally attended to. The middle style usually has, it's more, a writer who's using the middle style is more open to stylistic risk taking. It engages a sense of play, it's humorous, it's pleasing to the audience. And it's also careful to use, or it uses style carefully to entertain the audience. So it might use alliteration to draw attention to important words, or it might use imagery, or it might have more artful crafting of sentences where you're paying attention to the rhythm or the parallelism in the ideas or the words in the sentence. So, what kinds of writing do you think kind of falls in middle style? That's something that I'd like you to think about. Finally, we see a shift in the high or the grand style that prioritizes style over content. And so the high style uses a large number of figures of speech, images, or extended metaphors, a lot of poetic language. There can be heavily repeated words, phrases, or sentence patterns. There can be a wide range of complex sentences, and it typically aims to be memorable in style so that you walk away after reading it or hearing it and you have kind of the words or the ideas or the feelings that those words and ideas created in you in your mind. So, again, what kinds of writing or speaking do you see kind of fitting in with this high or grand style? So, those are the key concepts. We'll talk about these more, and we'll talk about them in the context of Ross Gay's essay. But as you're reading performing prose, think about what the key points that Holcomb and Killingsworth are talking about, making what are the points they're making about the relationship between style and the rhetorical tradition. And like I said, what kinds of genres typically fit into each of those categories or each of those levels? Then, as you're reading Ross Gay's essay, think about what is his purpose in writing and what does he want readers to understand? And then what do you notice about Gay's style and how is his style helping him to accomplish his purpose? So we'll talk about where we think Gay's style fits in with Cicero's levels of style, but we'll also talk about specific elements in Gay's work that are really kind of driving home some of those ideas. So that's what we have on in store for week 3. I hope you all have had a great weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Wednesday.